People cried when Eddie Munson died, and that reaction alone already tells us something important. Stranger Things does not create characters like Eddie just to throw them away. Not like that. Not with that much care, symbolism, and emotional weight. His death felt final, yes, but at the same time, strangely unfinished. And that's exactly where this theory begins. Because Stranger Things has always followed a rule that the show itself taught us, the ending is always hidden in the game. From the very first season, Dungeons & Dragons hasn't been a reference, it has been a blueprint. The Demogorgon, the Mind Flayer, Vecna, none of these names were random, they were warnings. And if the show has already introduced Vecna, then the story demands the next step, and that step has a name most people forgot: Kaz. In Dungeons & Dragons lore, Vecna is not just a villain, he is a lich, an immortal being obsessed with control, knowledge, and domination. But Vecna does not rule alone. He creates a champion, a right-hand warrior, someone powerful enough to stand beside him. That warrior is Kaz. And here's the detail that changes everything. Kaz is transformed by Vecna, corrupted, turned into a vampire-like entity. But instead of remaining loyal forever, Kaz eventually turns against his master. He becomes the one being capable of nearly destroying Vecna himself. Vecna creates his own downfall. Now think about Eddie Munson. His story is not the story of a random victim. Eddie is introduced as an outsider, a misunderstood figure, judged by the entire town without anyone truly knowing him. He's blamed for crimes he didn't commit, hunted, humiliated, and forced to run. And yet, when the moment comes, Eddie doesn't run anymore. He makes a conscious choice to stand his ground. He chooses sacrifice. And his death is not portrayed like any other death in the show. Eddie doesn't die in the real world. Eddie doesn't get a funeral. Eddie doesn't even get closure. He dies in the Upside Down. That alone already separates him from almost every other character who has died before. But the way he dies is even more important. Eddie is killed by demobats, winged vampiric creatures. The camera lingers on the bites, on the blood, on the exhaustion, on the slow, deliberate loss of strength. This is not a quick death. It is ritualistic, transformative, symbolic. In classic mythology and in Dungeons & Dragons, vampirism is not just about dying. It is about becoming something else, something trapped between life and death, between worlds. And Eddie is literally left between worlds. His body remains in the Upside Down, a place that is deeply connected to Vecna himself. That means Eddie is not just dead, he is exposed. Exposed to the same dimension that reshaped Henry Creel. Exposed to the same corruption that created Vecna in the first place. And narratively, Eddie represents everything Vecna despises. Vecna hates emotion. Vecna hates connection. Vecna hates music. Vecna believes humanity is weakness. Eddie Munson is the opposite of all of that. Eddie uses music as a weapon. Eddie creates community. Eddie feels deeply. Eddie sacrifices himself not out of rage, but out of love. That guitar scene is not just iconic, it is thematically essential. Music in Stranger Things has always been the bridge between worlds, between life and death. Max survives because of music, and Eddie fights because of it. He doesn't try to defeat the monsters directly, he distracts them, he buys time, he saves others. That is the act of a hero who understands the cost. In Dungeons & Dragons, Kaz is not a pure villain or a pure hero. He is a tragic figure, a warrior shaped by darkness who still retains a moral core, someone who knows the enemy better than anyone else because he was once close to him. That fits Eddie perfectly. Eddie would never return as the same person. Stranger Things is not about resurrection without consequence. If Eddie comes back, he comes back changed, scarred, altered, possibly feared even more than before, but still human where it matters most. And that's exactly what Stranger Things Season 5 needs. The final season cannot be won by 11 alone. Raw power is not enough to defeat Vecna. The show has made that very clear. Vecna is ideology, he is trauma, he is nihilism. To defeat him, the story needs a counterweight, someone born from the darkness who refuses to fully embrace it. Someone that Vecna unintentionally created. Someone like Daz. Eddie Munson returning as a Kaz-like figure wouldn't erase his sacrifice, it would complete it. He would become a living contradiction to Vecna's philosophy, proof that even when the Upside Down takes everything from you, it cannot fully erase who you are. Vecna believes pain makes people stronger by removing their humanity. Eddie proves the opposite, that humanity is what gives pain meaning. And if Stranger Things truly follows the logic it has always followed, then Eddie's story is not over. Not because fans want it, but because the narrative demands it. Vecna doesn't fall by force alone. He falls because he creates the thing that can destroy him. And if the show stays true to Dungeons & Dragons, then Eddie Munson is not just a fallen hero. He is the beginning of Vecna's end.